to another episode of the Atlantic CIL podcast. I'm your host, Donald Campbell, the Executive Director of Atlantic Center for Independent Living. I'm here with my guest, one of my favorite people from the Department of Disability Services, Cristine Chickadel. Hi, Cristine, how are you?
Hi, good morning, Donald. Great. How are you today?
I'm good, and we're going to talk about a great topic, a very important topic that I had many questions about, and that is ABLE accounts. And Cristine, tell us a little bit about your position. I know you're focused on ABLE accounts and sort of what you're doing for the New Jersey Department of Disability Services.
Sure, thanks. And thanks for having me this morning, Donald, or today.
Yes.
For this. This is great. Yeah, and Donald and I go way back, kind of.
We do go way back.
Yes, I used to work for the Atlantic County Office of Disability for about 6 years, and Donald and I work closely together doing a multitude of different projects there. So, like you said, before I joined the team at the Division of Disability Services in Trenton, I worked in Atlantic County government. I did ADA work there, disability advisory board. So I've been in this world, this genre of disability services for quite some time. And now I'm at the state level in Trenton at the Division of Disability Services, representing the New Jersey ABLE program as the state representative for New Jersey ABLE.
That's awesome. So tell us, what are ABLE accounts, Cristine? How would you explain it?
Right. So ABLE accounts, well, first and foremost, ABLE is actually an acronym, and it stands for Achieving a Better Life Experience. But ultimately, what ABLE is a savings account, very simply put. ABLE is a 529A, with the A standing for appendix. So it's part of the 529 College Savings Tax Advantage Savings Law that many of us might be aware of. ABLE accounts are owned by a person with a disability, and really what it is it helps people with disabilities and their families save money. Just one more thing I'll say too about that question, what is an ABLE account? ABLE accounts do have options of saving money in a checking savings account or a portfolio investment account, or you can really do a combination of both.
That's great to know. And I was going to add, ABLE accounts were specifically created, right, to address the issue of because when people are on SSI and Medicaid, SSI being Social Security income, you are restricted of how much money you can save of up to, you can't go over $2,000. So ABLE accounts was created to allow people with disabilities who are on these programs to be able to save money. So if you're on Social Security income, it is a good program for you to look into. And that was what I was going to talk about in question 2, and you can expand on this, Cristine. Why were they created? I talked about a little bit.
Yeah, so kind of a when and a why to ABLE accounts and the creation of them. The when being they were signed into law in 2014 by President Barack Obama. They actually became active in our state of New Jersey 2 years later in 2016. And really, public savings capabilities haven't even come to our state of New Jersey since 2018. So these are very, very new accounts. And kind of the why behind that question, why were ABLE accounts created, to bounce off of what you just said, Donald, there's a gentleman named Stephen J. Beck, and the ABLE Act, the law of ABLE, is named after this gentleman. He was a Virginia resident. He has a daughter with Down syndrome, who was a teen at the time. And he saw really a gap of her savings and independence based on what you mentioned, those $2,000 savings thresholds. It's so unfortunate, and it somewhat dictates a life of poverty, for being a little bit crass, for people with disabilities to not be able to save beyond $2,000 in their own names. So Beck saw that. He championed this law to Congress. And after many years of going through the trenches, he saw it pass into law by Obama in 2014.
Well, I didn't know that story, and that was a great way to explain it. And it really shows the importance of advocacy and telling your story, because like you said, and I don't think it was crass at all, it's really honest. If you can't save money, that really does hurt your ability to escape poverty, because he can't save money. I mean, we all know that's one of the keys to building wealth and building your own personal income, is having some savings. So to be restricted from doing that is really counterproductive, and I'm glad able accounts have tried to correct that and have given people a vehicle. But you're right, a lot of people don't know that about them. And also, 2014 wasn't that long ago. I mean, it was, almost a decade, but not quite. So, and my next question was going to be, so who is eligible to open an ABLE account, Cristine? Who's eligible?
Sure. So ABLE accounts are opened by a person with a disability, and they're owned by a person with a disability. So to be eligible to open one, you have to have two components, basically. The first one being the disability has to be present before the age of 26 years old. There has, just on a side note to that component, at the tail end of 2022, we just saw legislation passed that age will be increasing to the age of 46, and that will happen in the year 2026. So right now, at this day and age, the disability has to be present or onset before the age of 26 years old. And the second component has to have you have to have one of these three. You have to be eligible for SSI or SSDI. You do not have to have them. We just need you to be eligible for one of those. Secondly, blindness as deemed by the Social Security Administration. Or thirdly, a severe similarly disability that a certified licensed doctor can attest to or write a letter. So that's it. And then you can open an ABLE account. ABLE accounts are actually no doc. So you don't need to provide any documentation. It's certified under, as we call it, penalty of perjury. So you can just literally go online and apply and enroll, if you will, for an ABLE account.
Oh, I didn't know that. Then see, I'm learning through this podcast. I didn't know that you could. There was no documentation required. It's just under penalty of perjury. So you have to attest that you are eligible for these programs. I think you explained it really well. That you just have to be eligible and just have to state that you have a disability. So I think that's great. That's a real low barrier to entry for people with disabilities. That makes it a lot easier than I think people with disabilities are used to. Because as you know from your work, the more paperwork there is, the harder it is for a lot of people with disabilities to sign up. And I really want to highlight too, you did a great job explaining that rule about onset. You said it was 26 currently, and it's going to move up to, what did you say, 48?
46 years old. Yeah.
46. So yeah, and that can be a barrier too. And that's why they're asking them to move it up, because under current law, if you got in a car accident when you were 30, you have a disability, you're currently ineligible to open an ABLE account. And now that's why they want to move that threshold up. And I think, in the long run, people with disabilities would like to keep moving up to eventually eliminate it. But the more progress we make, so more people can use this program, the better. And you talked about this a little, my next question, but so how do you open an ABLE account? Is it you go online, or can you go into a bank? Because I know I get that question sometimes.
Yes, great question. To open it is online. Basically, you cannot walk into any bank or local branch to open an ABLE account. ABLE accounts are actually the checking savings component of ABLE. The bank that administers them is Fifth Third National Bank. It's an FDIC insured bank, and they're really a Midwestern based bank, but they hold they do the ABLE accounts for every single ABLE program in the nation that has it. It's just Fifth Third. And in order to open an ABLE account, as you asked, you can call Fifth Third, which the phone number is on our website, which is savewithable.com.
And we'll put that in our description too.
Great.
Save with ABLE.
savewithable.com/NJ/home. And yes, Donald will put that up for easy access to that. You can email the program manager, who is an entity named Census that we use in our state of New Jersey, along with 19 other states. But a Census is who you would call to enroll over the phone, or you can send in a paper application by mail to Fifth Third. So all that information is very easy to access right on the website. And you cannot walk into a bank to enroll, as you mentioned.
Yeah, that's important. So don't walk into your local bank and say, I want to open my ABLE account. You're not going to get anywhere.
Right.
So that's good to know. My next question is, and this is a question I get frequently too when ABLE accounts come up. Are ABLE accounts available in every state, or is it just New Jersey?
Sure. So the simple answer, well, no, they're not available in every state. They're available in 46 states. And the only states that currently do not have ABLE programs are Idaho, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Wisconsin. And I would just like to think they'll probably be joining the bandwagon soon, because ABLE is really a wonderful savings program.
Okay, so that's good to know. So it seems a lot of it is up to the states to roll it out. So it was passed nationally, but it's still up to the states to implement it. So,
And,
so
you know, let me interrupt you there too, if I may, Donald. It's not available in every state, you know, as organized by the state level, but you can open an ABLE account in any state.
oh, that's a good point. Talk
So,
about that. Yes.
yeah. So, you know, as a resident of New Jersey, you might find special tax advantages in opening it in your home state, but you can also open it in any state that has an ABLE program. So people that do live in North Dakota that don't find it administered through their state level can go to any state program and open an ABLE account. And that's just a matter of going to the state plan and enrolling.
Right. That is good to know. And you may want to, if you're listening to this, you know, you may want to, and you're interested in an ABLE account, you may want to, you know, see what's available in other states. Because as Cristine said, you don't have to open it in New Jersey. You know, it's not just because you live here doesn't mean you have to open one here. It's about what works for you, and a program could be a little different in another state, so it could be worth looking into. How much money can an eligible person put in an ABLE account? Are there any limits on that?
Sure, and I'll give you the simple answer for New Jersey, but that is probably a little bit of a piggyback onto the prior question about what state you want to open it in, because all states really have different criteria on the lifetime savings capacity. The maximum you're able to save per year is very standard across the nation, but each state has different lifetime maxes. So for New Jersey, you're allowed to save $305,000 total in a lifetime in an ABLE account, in a New Jersey ABLE account. The maximum capacity per year you can save is $17,000. Now we do see that amount increase year after year. It's based on federal standards, federal poverty levels, quite frankly, is how they determine that. But that's across the board, every state, every ABLE account, $17,000 a year maximum. There's another component. That's why I said a simple answer, because this answer has multiple layers, but there's another thing called the Able to Work Act, and that affords people with disabilities who have an ABLE account, who are employed, to save beyond that $17,000 cap. And that's also based on federal poverty standards, but it really is up to this year for 2023, $14,580, which brings your savings capacity per year to $31,580. That's how much you can save in an ABLE account.
Well, that's a good amount.
Yes.
And especially when you measure it against that $2,000 threshold without ABLE accounts, that really does allow you to save money. And here's a question I get sometimes, and we talked about it a little bit. So if I open an ABLE account in New Jersey, can I transfer it to another state if I move to like New York? What are the rules for that?
Yeah, you positively can, but it's not necessary. As we said,
Right.
it doesn't have to be your state of residence where your ABLE account is. So I always like to use the comparison in New Jersey being so close to Pennsylvania. People will see move from PA into Jersey, let's say, and they currently have a Pennsylvania ABLE account. They don't have to close that when they move to Jersey. They can keep their PA ABLE and reside here and everything's fine. But if they wish, they would, to open a New Jersey ABLE account, it is required to close the current one to open another. You only can have one ABLE account, no matter what state you reside.
Yeah, that I was going to highlight that point because I remember you talking about that rule. You can't have multiple open ABLE accounts. You can only have one. So that is an important factor to keep in mind.
And applicants will see when they go to apply, the system will flag them. So
Right.
yeah.
So if you maybe if you opened an ABLE account, at a different state and you forgot you opened it, it will come up. So if you go in again, so that's good to know. Last question was, so where can a person go? Where would it, like, if a person's listening to this, where would they start? Where's a good place to just get information and see if they're interested in opening an ABLE account?
So I'm going to send you to two different places, kind of easy to remember if you don't have a pen to write it down. SaveWithABLE.com is our general website for the 19 ABLE plans in our alliance, but you scroll to the bottom to get to New Jersey. But another really good resource too is ABLE NRC. That stands for ABLE National Resource Center.org. So www.ablenrc.org is a really great resource. There's comparison tools on there. There's ambassador stories. There's a multitude. I mean, it's very robust. They are managed by the National Disability Institute, really well-run organization to answer all your questions, but ultimately don't hesitate to contact me. I'm your representative here in the state of New Jersey, and I will put my phone number out there. It is 609-631-2451, and I can help guide you, direct you, or answer any questions you might have about ABLE.
I've worked with Cristine both on a personal and a professional level. She, like she said, she used to be our county representative, and she got me signed up for the PSAP program, which is another great program. And she's just wonderful to work with. I can't recommend her highly enough. So if you have any questions, please reach out to her, because if she doesn't know the answer, she's going to steer you in the right direction, and she's going to tell you, I don't know that answer, and here's a good resource. So I couldn't recommend her highly enough. Another thing before we leave, I did want, because I heard you say this last time I heard you present, it is important that ABLE accounts are about savings. They're not about earnings, right, Cristine? I know people sometimes when they're on SSI, they might think, oh, my ABLE account allows me to earn more money. But that's not the truth. It's about savings, not earnings, correct?
That's it. That's what it is. It's a vessel for saving. It's another financial tool to add to your arsenal. Information. This is just something to look into. ABLE's not for everybody. And what Donald kind of probably meant is people with disabilities that are employed,
Yeah.
they might have earnings capacities in order for their SSI income or SSDI income. Those would still stand. Earnings are earnings, and they're, capitated on whatever program that you're involved with. So you have to check your own situation to see if it works. But yeah, the biggest benefit here is these means tested benefits are now no longer configured. Benefits loudly, like Medicaid, SSI, HUD, TANF, SNAP, all these federal means tested programs. These programs will not look at your ABLE savings when determining your benefits. And that's
yes, and that I just wanted to highlight that point, because like you said, people need to check and make sure if they're on Social Security income, if you can't earn more than you're allowed just because you're on an ABLE account. But if somebody wanted to put $2,000 for your birthday, like a family member, in your savings account, in your ABLE account, now they could do that without threatening your benefits. So that's the difference, and that's what ABLE account, it's like you do. It lets people with disabilities save money. So we still have to address the earnings issue, but that's for another day and another topic and another law and another fight. So I just want to make sure people knew that. But thank you, Cristine, so much. You gave a lot of information in a quick period of time. You were absolutely wonderful. And people have any questions, please reach out to Cristine, and you can also reach out to the CIL if you have questions for me, but I will point you in the direction of the Division of Disability Services and Cristine Chickadel. Also, I know, Cristine, you do a lot of great presentations. So if anybody's listening to this and maybe they're in a disability organization in the state, or they work for a disability organization, I would definitely consider bringing Cristine in. She did a wonderful presentation for us.
And Donald, thanks a million for your kind words. And I too am a champion for your work at the Atlantic Center for Independent Living. You guys do great stuff, and I'm always looking to see what's happening next in your world. Good stuff you do, and I think the same about you. So thanks for having me today.
Yes, thank you all, and thanks everybody for listening. And please look into ABLE accounts; they are a great resource. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye, Cristine.
Goodbye.